Welcome back to the Music Marketing Podcast with Alex and Maddie from Burstamo. Today we're going to be talking about where the money is in the music industry. I think it's a focus for a lot of musicians because a lot of you want to make it your full-time job. So we're going to be talking about where the money is, how you can be earning more money, where to invest it, all things like that really. We thought we'd first kind of start with where the money used to be in music and how that's changed over the past few years, because it's a completely different story now.
Yeah, I'm quite hot on this topic and quite passionate about it, because I think a lot of artists, since the fact that music streaming pays virtually nothing now, artists think that back in the day they used to make a lot of money. Yeah. So for example, if you've got 10,000 streams on Spotify, a lot of artists think, oh, hold on, I would have made £10,000 if I'd actually got that number of sales. But streams don't equal sales, and artists think that there was more money back in the industry than there is now. But the truth is, I think there is more money for emerging artists at the bottom end than there is at the top end in 2019 there was in 1982.
Yeah, I think if you think about the music that you have saved on your Spotify or you've put into a playlist, how often you stream it. But would you go out and buy a $5.99, $10.99 CD of theirs? I don't think so. I don't think I would be able. I would buy half the music that I've saved, because it's a different listening experience entirely. Yeah. You stream stuff through a playlist, but it doesn't mean that you choose to enjoy that artist's music. It's a completely
people
different
listening to less and less albums as well.
Yeah, entirely.
I don't know about you, but I listen more so singles from playlists, and essentially, I guess it's forcing more artists to be more one-hit wonders and things like that. But there is that one artist that always has that one track that stands out, makes all the Spotify playlists, and that's how I consume music now.
So I think in the past the money did come from those physical sales.
Yeah.
It came from vinyls, from CD, through tape. Live events, there was always money in as well. But it was only really the major artists that were making money from either of those, because in the past, if you were an emerging artist, you could not get a CD made, really. You couldn't really get a vinyl made.
Yeah.
It was too expensive.
If you did, it wouldn't get to the stores.
Yeah, it was too expensive to sell as well. And if you did sell it, you'd literally be selling it to your family and friends. Yeah. But now you can upload to Spotify, you can create music in your bedroom, you can distribute it so easily. So the money's in a different area entirely.
Yeah, I completely agree. But now the opportunities now for musicians to make money is insane. You've got artists who basically no one has heard of, and it's just completely niche, but that niche audience can be monetized now. Back in the day, you could never be able to narrow down your audience and just filter it down and say, I'm going to sell to this group of people, i.e. your Instagram followers, those who follow you on Spotify, and also Facebook likes, subscribers, that kind of thing. You can sell to them now like you can't before. So, and I'm talking about gig tickets and basically merch are the two big places that you're going to make money.
And also digital streaming, you do get money from. So 1 million streams, you're going to get around £4,000, which is pretty good. It is pretty good, because you can get that by simply uploading. And a lot of people think that's not true because they only got 1,000 streams. But there are so many artists that are not signed, have released their first ever song, and it just got picked up by the algorithm, and they naturally got 1 million streams, and they got £4,000. That's so simple to do. Yeah. And yes, Spotify don't pay artists enough, but it's actually not possible for them to pay more.
Yeah. And what is enough? What is enough? Do you just don't upload to Spotify if you're not happy with the deal? Yeah. So I'd say that when you get your payment from Spotify, don't view it as this is not a lot. See it as this is my net payment from all of the fees I've had to pay for Spotify to promote their platform, to develop their algorithm that has got my track discovered by just so many people.
Yeah, it's purely a platform for discovery. It shouldn't be treated as your main source of income, because music sales in the past was a musician's main income. And now, because people don't physically buy music, people treat Spotify and other digital streaming platforms as their main source of income. And that's why they think it's unfair, because in the past, people would be making absolute thousands, millions on sales, But now it's really, really difficult to get that amount of money from digital streaming. So I think if you treat it like a discovery platform, but then you also treat it as this platform is allowing me to get different sources of income. It's getting that audience for you because it's pushing you out.
Yeah.
And then once it's pushing you out, you think, okay, I've got 10,000 streams on this track. I don't know who these 10,000 people are, but they might be following me on Instagram. They might be communicating with me on YouTube. And once they've done that, you can start selling tickets. You can start selling merch.
Yeah.
And that's Spotify is that tool. It's using your music to get you more fans. Basically.
And now they've just implemented a feature where you can sell merch. I don't know if it's available yet for all the distributors.
US maybe as well.
Yeah, US. But when you go onto a artist profile, you can actually sell your merch. It's like a storefront, and it will take you to the website where you can buy the merch, which is just amazing. Like that is where Spotify's going with the monetization. Yeah, go create a brand and go make your own money is what they're saying. We'll look after ourselves and we'll get our algorithm right. We'll do our own branding and just like they've been making a loss until today.
Yeah,
which we saw in the news
loss.
saying they are now in profit or they're operating at profit or something like that.
They made a profit last quarter, but they're predicted next quarter to make a loss again.
Yeah.
And it's literally a loss of I think it's between $50 and $100 million loss next quarter. But their musicians are saying, well, we should be paid more. They can't physically do it. They're already making a loss.
Spotify think they should be paid more as well. Obviously, they're losing 100 million a month. So they think they should be paid more as well, but that's just not the way it is now.
But all of these platforms, social media especially, are working in the favour of musicians. So like you said, merch on Spotify, Instagram brought in a new feature which you can be done through ads now. It's called collection ads, and then they basically allow you to click directly to a site from an ad, which is amazing for Post Malone, for example. If he did that, if he started running ads on his merch, people could start buying his merch through the app.
Yeah.
And now they've brought in tags. It's only for a few brands at the moment, but they can tag a piece of clothing and then you can buy the clothes in the app. Soon enough, musicians are going to be able to do that with their merch. You can be wearing your own merch.
Yeah.
You tag your merch in it and people are just starting to buy it through Instagram, and it's so easy, and that works massively in the favour of musicians.
Yeah. And musicians are a bit lost with merch. They're not quite sure what they should be creating and manufacturing. And for us at Burstamo, we look at the inspiration of YouTubers and Instagram influencers and what they do for merch. And they don't just put their username on a t-shirt or a sweater and say, please go and support me and buy it. They create something of value, something that people want. They create a community, and people wear that merch because they want to be part of that community. And that's really where the money is. You have to be really creative with your merch and what you do.
I'm also so much more likely to buy merch if it's just a really cool piece of clothing. So if I follow an artist on Instagram, I like their music, but I'm not that dedicated of a fan. But they posted that they got a new t-shirt out and it's really cool and it's my style. I'd buy it, and not because of anything to do with the music. But then again, there are YouTubers that both of us watch that we may not like the merch that much, but because we love the content so much, we purchase it.
Yeah.
And it works both ways, but you just need to make sure you're not mugging off your audience by creating awful merch, because we've seen it before, bad quality, not even bothering with kind of putting on a proper logo. It would just be your name.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, because if you show your audience you care about them, they're going to give you the same respect back.
And artists are in such a strong position to create a brand, more so than influencers and YouTubers, because YouTube is kind of like a very clickbait area where everything's got to be quite in your face, whereas artists can put their sort of creative output into a product and say, this is my style, this is what I would wear, and I want to sell it. And it doesn't have to be that kind of just in your face product. It can be something quite subtle, something that fits your brand, and you're an artist. You can create a brand for yourself, just like you have with your photography, with your social media, and with the vibe of your music. Do something that fits your vibe.
I also think that a lot of independent artists think that there's no money in music because they currently aren't earning that much money. And they think that only the big artists are the multimillionaires, and they're just kind of getting all the money and it's not being shared out. But it's like that in every single industry. The people that are succeeding are the multimillionaires, and the people that aren't earning much money.
Yeah.
But there is this sort of middle ground now where I think there is money up for grabs.
Yeah.
Independent artists can get that money. You just need to be strategic with it. You need to make sure that you're not jumping at it too early, because it's so easy to do. We see a lot of artists that will they'll put their track on Spotify, but they'll also put it on iTunes, and they'll push people to pay for it. Why would people pay for it? If they can stream it for free, they're not going to pay $1.99 to buy it. They're just not. And the last time we bought a track was to show support for an artist.
For Lewis Capaldi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, we bought the track because we wanted him to get to number one, because we love his content, and he adds value by entertaining. Mm-hmm. So we only bought his track because we were like, I want to support him. We don't listen to music through the iTunes or Apple Music, really.
And Lewis Capaldi is a good segue into our next point of monetizing, because if you look at what he's just done with Greggs, Greggs is a bakery in the UK. It's like a fast food chain where you can just like get sandwiches, that kind of thing. And did you notice? I don't know if you've seen it.
I've seen it. They posted it on Lab Bible as well.
Yeah, like that is genius.
It's gone viral.
So he's gone number one. He hasn't made that much money from it. The Spotify streams probably didn't pay that much. Now he's got that audience. His label have looked to monetize it. Who is a good partner for his brand? And they chose Greggs. Food, yeah. They chose Greggs, and he did a video of him in Greggs for the day, and it was just a collaboration with the brand. So he got content that he could create. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious. And then Greggs get that exposure where I kind of did fancy a Greggs after watching it. So brand collaborations are another place where you can go, and it is something I'd say you can look forward to further down your career.
Yeah, you can only monetize that when you have the audience. Yeah. Because there is no point going to any brands, even if you use their guitars, even if you use their equipment, there's no point going to them if they're not going to get anything in return.
Yeah.
You either need to have the audience, or you need to offer them an opportunity. So that could be you're supporting a major artist and you want to wear their clothes. So if you wore it on tour, that would be promotion for them. You may not have loads of followers on Instagram, but loads of people in the audience are going to see those clothes. But there's absolutely no point going to these people if they're not going to get anything. Yeah. And Lewis Capaldi, that Greggs brand collab got Greggs so much exposure. Yeah. It's insane.
Because you do brand collabs for Burstamo. Like, what are they looking for in an artist?
I found that there's two separate things they're looking for. It's either the exposure or it's the content. I didn't actually realize that the content was going to be one, because I always thought that the brand only wants stuff that's going to make them money. But the content is actually something that a lot of brands are sort of missing at the moment, because brands in the past were never media companies, but now every single brand is basically a media company. We're a marketing agency, but we put out content. Every single business is basically a media company now. Yeah. And Greggs, for example, that benefits them massively because that was content that went viral. So the exposure one is purely kind of your follower count, because if you approach a major brand saying, I have 300,000 followers on Instagram, if you send me equipment, I'll shout you out, they're probably going to do it. Yeah. But then there's also content. So more recently, we've been working with a Scottish band, and amazing music, really funny personalities. So we've been approaching Scottish YouTubers, seeing if they want to do content with them. Not offering any payment, not offering anything except from them to do a collaboration. And we've got 3 YouTubers ranging from, one of them's got about 5k subscribers. The highest one has 80,000 subscribers. And they're going to do content with them. They're going to put them in videos. And you don't have to pay for that. It's just they need the content. And for them, it's exciting. It's something new. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a really good one, because if you can approach someone that has an audience and you can offer them something in return that isn't follower count, then definitely do it. If that's your personality, it might be something as simple as that. It's definitely worth giving a go, because it's something that we've recently discovered and it does work. Yeah. So I think that's a really good one. But brand collabs in general is making people millionaires. Yeah. It's like absolutely. If you look at Paloma Faith at the moment, she's really cashing in. Have you seen?
No.
It is Paloma Faith, isn't it? She does the car advert.
Oh, is that with James Corden?
No. She did the car advert, and she's more recently done another car advert.
Yeah.
Is it Paloma Faith?
I actually don't know. I haven't seen this one. We'll have to look it up.
I will have to look it up. She basically has been in 2 major car adverts, and she is like the main person in it, and she must have earned a fortune. Yeah. I need to look it up.
I know. Same with the Brit Awards MasterCard advert as well you were talking about.
Yes, it is Palenfe. You must have seen
with
this.
Skoda. No, I haven't seen this. No.
So she's done one with Skoda, and the second one might have been with Skoda as well. But, she was the main part of it, and her song was like the main feature of the ad.
Mm-hmm.
And she would have been paid like millions, I think.
Yeah.
And before, who was it? Camila Cabello, who did the MasterCard advert. She probably got paid a lot for it, but it was also just amazing exposure for her because her track was played before what wars was it?
Brits Awards.
Oh yeah, and it got played before in every single advert break, which is insane exposure for her. But
I think just like to wrap up the brand collaboration section is like, if you're in doubt of whether there is opportunities there for artists, go to the Universal website and look up their brand partnerships page. And I think they've got a separate product placement page. And there are so much product placement opportunities in music videos. I actually didn't even notice it. So for example, Mika on his latest music video rolled in with a BMW. And that was a partnership with BMW. BMW paid to have their car in that music video, knowing it was going to get millions and millions of views, amazing exposure. And in the same music video, he had a watch company, I think it was Swatch, and he looked at his watch in the middle of the music video. That was it. They probably paid like tens of thousands of pounds, maybe even hundreds of thousands, just for that one half a second clip of him looking at his watch. So
it goes back to what we always say though, like once you've got the attention, you can literally sell anything. So if your Instagram account ends up getting like hundreds of thousands of followers, you can approach these brands and be like, I've got the attention, I've got a dedicated audience, how much can you offer basically? And there is so much money in it. It's such a profitable part of the music industry, and the best way to do this once again is having a dedicated social media following, which can only be done through content creation. And I'm sure we'll cover this in another podcast, but the content you put out entirely becomes your brand. And if you're creating content that is going to engage a big enough audience, then you're going to have brands, you're going to have labels, you're going to have your fans giving money as well. There's a lot of money out there. So don't kind of be disheartened and think it's just the major labels that have it.
And the final one for me is live gigs. So live gigs, there is just still so much money in it. Even for an emerging artist, selling out a room full of 100 people is still money you can earn for yourself in the early stages. So I know that a lot of artists, they're not really sure about doing gigs. You have to put on live shows if you want that money, because that's where it is. And again, you need the social media audience where don't concentrate on getting hundreds of thousands of followers worldwide. Focus on getting hundreds of thousands of followers or just 1,000 followers in your local community and build from there if you want to monetize so early in your career, because that is where money is. And there are artists playing festivals for $500,000 now as a fee. There's money in festivals and
I think it's interesting what you said though, like monetizing early on in your career. You need to make a decision. I think for us, we think it is invest early on and see the money later on in your career, because there isn't much money in the early stages at all. The same with every other industry. Businesses start and they don't expect to make millions within the first year. It's a slow burner, and it's exactly the same for musicians. You're sort of a business. And to expect to see money in the later stages, you need to invest, whether that's your time or your money. Because spending on Facebook and Instagram ads, spending on high quality merch, spending on the producers if you don't have the skills yourself, spending on the marketing team, it's worth it, because you may pay $5,000 for a marketing team. You're not going to see that $5,000 immediately. But in the long term, you will.
The day you start cashing out is the day you stand still. If you start doing sponsored posts on your Instagram, you start selling too much merch on your Instagram stories constantly to your audience, you're doing too many gigs, and all of your energy is focused on cashing in on the audience you already have, then you're going to stand still. So always remember that, to keep reinvesting all the money that comes in back into it, because it will compound into success. And let's be honest, if you're not, like, you don't want to be full-time at that stage as an emerging artist. You don't want that for the rest of your career. So why try and stand still? You might as well take the gamble and just keep reinvesting to make it. Don't just stand still, because it's a waste of your time. You could find out the answer if you're going to make it within 6 months instead of wasting 6 years on standing still hoping to make it.
I think the idea of being a full-time musician is a difficult one because a lot of your aim will be to be a full-time musician, but so often musicians take that jump way too early, and it puts so much pressure on the music because you might find that you drop one track, it gets millions of streams, and you're thinking, okay, this is my time, I'm now going to be a full-time musician. You drop your full-time job and then you release your next track and it doesn't do as well. And then what? Like, you are stuck at this point, and the only way you can be full-time is if your audience are so dedicated that you put out tickets and you sell out your show. You put out your line of merch and it sells out. You need to have such a kind of clear income stream that you don't have to worry about that. And that's really, really difficult, but the jump should only be made when you're feeling pretty secure with how much you're making.
You'll start making decisions for your own music based on the money and what people want rather than what you want.
Yeah, definitely. If you go full-time too early, you'll find that you're kind of selling merch at a higher price than it should be, and you're kind of buying worse quality t-shirts. You'll start putting out music so often but not as good quality because you're worrying that you're not making enough money. So definitely don't take the jump if you're not ready. Although it may sound exciting, it actually can end up like ruining the love for the music because you're putting so much pressure on it. But I think that kind of covers everything we have to say about money in the music industry. I think wrapping it up, there is money in the music industry. But if you enjoyed this, definitely leave a review. Let us know on Instagram. You can DM us at Burstamo, and we'll be back soon.
And if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment and we'll get back to it.